Hello and welcome to the Clout Blue podcast. Oh, let me do that again. That was poor. Come on. The beauty of this is for YouTube, I can mess up, but for the audio version, we want it to be slick and ready. So forgive me, everybody. Hello and welcome to the Clout Blue podcast, our inside BODYMOOR show as we look ahead to Aston Villa versus Everton. Now, for those who are watching on YouTube, I've updated the intro graphic for the little pre-warm up, whatever you like. John, you're having a good old inspection of it when nobody could see your face, but you were looking at it like
Did
this.
you see that?
Yeah. What you?
Oh yeah. Well, there was a couple of things. There's a couple of things going on in that break. So I was firstly looking at the new photos of us that you took the other day, and I said I hadn't shaved. So I'm not too impressed with my photo. And then all my books in the back fell down, and then I tried to pick it up, and then a flower behind which you can't see also fell to the floor. So they're falling as I talk. So it's a bit of a dramatic introduction, really.
A flower? Do you want to expand on that?
Expand on what?
A flower? Why? What's the flower got to do with anything? You got a flower in your background there?
Well, it's just like a fake with my forearm. So
okay. Well, your connection's terrible, which is a cracking start to this episode.
Connection is terrible. Yeah, you're pretty cracking.
Okay, well, one of us has got a bad internet. I don't know who it is. I think it might be you. So let's just try and get through this as best we can.
Yeah.
If anyone's watching this can tell us who's blurry and sounds crap and crackly, we'll know who it is. I don't really know what the fix is, to be honest, apart from me just waffling for long enough in the hope that John's internet comes back. Right, okay, let's get straight into this. Yeah, you can do if you want. I mean, it looks okay at the moment. I'm happy to just kind of wing our way through it, to be honest.
I'm struggling, to be fair. I can barely hear you. Let me quickly reconnect. Sorry, everyone who's watching. This is a shambles.
Okay, all right. Go on, then.
Me. All right. I won't be long.
Okay, I'll just sit here on my own whilst John sorts it out. It is John. The comments have confirmed it is John. Okay, so for this part of the show, this will be YouTube only. So for the audio listeners, if you listen to this back, none of this will be in here because this is a disgrace to broadcasting. We try and make ourselves be a professional outfit, and this is what we get. How's everyone doing this evening? Tell me how you're getting on. Friday night, John normally asks me how I'm doing, and I was going to say I'm doing all right, John, but my son is a little bit poorly, so that's rubbish. Let's get rid of this. There he is. Oh, there we go. Lovely and crisp. That's better, yeah. For now, anyway. Right. Where were we? Let's scratch all of that. Apologies to those that are watching on YouTube. Let's pick up as if we've just started the podcast. John, how are things, mate? You okay?
Yeah, doing fine, thanks. Looking forward to Saturday and hopefully another win for the Villa. First home win of the season, if we were to win, of course. But yeah, it feels like we all need it after what's been a strange 2 weeks, really. A lot of stuff off the pitch that hasn't gone down well with the fans, obviously. And an international break anyway. Everyone just wants football back. But yeah, we definitely want to start this part of the season anyway after the international break with a win. That would be nice. A clean sheet as well. We haven't had many of those.
Yeah, we'll get to our score predictions at the very end, but I've gone big this week. I went big against Leicester as well. It didn't quite come off, but yeah, why not? I fancy us for beating Everton pretty comfortably, to be honest. Spoiler alert. Okay, let's get into this then. This is what we're all here for. Let's get into this and get out of it as soon as possible. The presser, John, you've been to BODYMOOR, hence the show Inside BODYMOOR. You've had a chat with Unai. We had a comment earlier on, but since we started the stream, it's disappeared. But somebody was asking, how were the cookies? That's what anyone really cares about. Anything to report?
There were no cookies.
You hate to see it, don't you?
I know. Devastated, mate. They had... what do they have? Oh, no, they didn't know what it was. It was like currants or raisins in them. I'm not a fan of fruit being in like cookies or cakes and stuff. It's just not my bag. So I left those, but they had like a muffin, which I had instead. And I also had a Belvita, which was a bit of like a rogue addition to the spread as such for the press conference. Never had them before the press conference. So yeah, I had that on the way home in my car, driving back an hour in the dreadful traffic. Honestly, it's really jarring at the moment. All the delays and stuff going in and out of Birmingham. Yeah.
Yeah. One of the downsides to travelling in and around Birmingham for sure. The actual football related stuff, the presser. What was Unai saying? What was interesting? What was the mood like?
Yeah, I think it was a good press conference. Lots of how do I put it? Lots of takeaways, or a few takeaways, like meaty stuff, shall I say? Obviously, the ticket prices is a big thing. I think we'll get onto that later, though.
Yeah.
And otherwise, I think he mentioned something good about Duran and Watkins. Obviously, injury news. We'll speak about that shortly. But he was also asked about, Duran's in great form, Watkins not so much. Does Duran start, or is he in your thoughts to start games? And he came out with a decent line explaining, well, they can actually still play together. Like, that isn't out of my thinking, even though last year didn't work very well. He rarely says stuff about things that don't go well or plans that, don't go as he'd like, Unai. But he mentioned the last season, when Watkins and Duran played together, it didn't work well. So they need to improve in that regard. But it's definitely something that I can see happening in the future. Definitely needs work, because last season, West Ham and Palace away didn't go well. Duran was hooked after 45, and then obviously Palace was a bit of a non-event anyway. But yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, okay. We'll get onto the ticket prices in a second, because obviously Emery was mentioned about that and kind of fans' right to protest or whatever as well. And that's something that we've not spoken about yet, and we will touch on shortly. Let's stick with football matters to begin with, though. You've mentioned injuries, so let's get that out of the way as well. The ones that fans were massively concerned with were Konsa and Watkins. Watkins obviously being withdrawn from the England squad after having, he's been playing all season with a knock anyway. Konsa going down in, I can't remember which game it was, the Ireland game? I can't remember. Finland, and that being a concern as well, but both fit and will be in the squad tomorrow.
Yeah, Emery said that they're both going to be in the squad, available for selection. He said that Watkins is progressively feeling better. He did say that he would think, or that he thought he was, fully ready a few weeks ago, maybe even before the Arsenal game, because he obviously missed the Dortmund match, had an injury issue in the Euros, so he definitely wasn't ready, even though Unai maybe thought he was. But now he thinks he's getting better and feeling better with different things. I don't know exactly what the injury issues were, if there's anything new that's come up recently. But he's fit for selection. Whether he'll start or not, we'll see. I presume he will. Same for Konsa, and two big boosts for Villa, because if either one were missing, I think maybe, if Duran was to start instead of Watkins, you'd be okay with it. But then we've obviously got Champions League match coming up soon. Then you've got Wolves, then you've got Wickham, then you've got Ipswich away, then you've got like Bayern Munich, United. There's a lot of matches coming up, so you want as many of your players available, especially the ones who are going to make the difference over the course of the season.
I don't know whether you know the answer to this or whether it was asked or not. How much training will they have done? Obviously, Watkins was at Bodymore throughout the international break anyway. Konsa played those games and then has come back. I don't know when. I don't know if you know, but if there were kind of injury worries there, would they have done much training? Do you know?
I don't know specifically if either of them have trained. I presume Konsa has, because that didn't seem like a muscular injury or anything like that. Whereas Watkins seems to be, I don't know. Again, I don't know exactly what it is, but that isn't an impact injury. What Konsa's was. So Konsa may have. Again, there may be like a video that Villa put out later that may show that they were both in training. I don't know, but wouldn't surprise me if Watkins hasn't trained, because I don't think it's a big issue if you play 60 minutes, because Duran can come on and score a goal like he has in the first two away games of the season. So, maybe it's just Watkins is, I don't know, muscular fatigue, that sort of thing in some places. So he needs a bit of a rest. And although I said that going to England would have been beneficial for him for a change of scene and stuff, I also think that him just coming back to Villa, equally not training maybe, and just, I don't want to say relaxing, but kind of just taking that break, because he hasn't really had one. He obviously had a period after the Euros, but he hasn't had a pre-season. So it is not fully fit, and he's not going to be firing all cylinders yet. Hopefully he will be. If not tomorrow, then in a few weeks or something. I've got no issues over that anyway.
Yeah, plenty of opportunities for him to score goals, whether in the Champions League, in the Premier League. If he's still struggling and needs an hour here and there, maybe plays against Wickham, scores a hat-trick, and that kind of kickstarts his season. There's opportunities to come for Watkins to find his form. The Konsa one, as you say, a contact injury, suffered it in a game, may have been a sore one for that evening, and then kind of back to absolute normality the following day, and he's no problems whatsoever. Okay. Let's do an opposition view, John, which for this week I've already failed, does not exist. I said at the start of the season I was going to try and get an opposition view in every single podcast. Game week 4. Bad news. Yeah, it's really difficult to organise. It really is, even with people that work in our company. I I got like the Everton version of you lined up, and then that fell through. Reached out to a couple of Everton fan channels and podcasts today, and they were unavailable as well. So I really like that part of the show, and it brings me sadness that I can't share it with people because I like hearing little bits from the other side, especially with Everton because we've signed a Nana this season, that kind of stuff. I like Everton. So yeah, a shame. I'll try and bring it back as soon as I can, though, whether that's for young boys or Wolves. We'll see. What I have got though, John, in place of the opposition review, is a little bit of trivia, a little bit of a quiz question. I've not prepared you for this at all, but it's live. Why not? Let's try it. See what happens. I want to know. There are players. Obviously, as you may or may not know, Everton Aston Villa is the most played fixture in English football. I don't know whether everyone has
joking. I have no idea.
No one's ever mentioned it, as far as I'm concerned. I'm pretty sure I found that stat out. I've never heard it before. There is a kind of connection between the two clubs. I feel like until Villa's relegation, both been in the Premier League a long time, kind of family clubs, that kind of vibe. Not the elite level, but that's kind of rung below. There's a lot of kind of synergy between the two clubs. And there's a lot of players, John, that have played for both clubs, including the current squads of both teams now. Can you name how many Everton players, how many former Everton players are in the Villa squad, and how many former Villa players are in the Everton squad?
Okay,
go.
3 for Everton.
Okay, do you know their names?
Tim, Young, and Idrissa Gana Gueye.
Correct. Yeah, I thought that might stump you a little bit.
Is that all of them?
That's 3, yeah.
Okay, and then for Villa, Anana, Luca Dean.
Yeah,
I'm not saying Lewis Dobbin because he doesn't play for us. Is there someone else that I've forgotten?
There's 2 more.
Really? Wow. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
No, you put me on the spot. Ross Barkley.
Yes.
Oh, damn it. I knew there'd be one. What position?
If I give you the position, you'll get it straight away.
Really?
Yeah.
Nothing's going to mind. Go on, give me the position.
Goalkeeper.
Yeah, I'm still stumped. Goalkeeper, really?
Yeah, Robin Olsen played for Everton on loan for 7 games. Yeah.
Did it? I had no idea about that. When was that?
As I was flicking through it in my head, I was thinking, I'm sure Olsen played for Everton at one stage, but it was like one of those things that I feel like, have I made that up? Like it feels like it makes sense, like it sounds right.
What year was that?
Yeah. Have a look if you want. I can't get it up at the moment. 7 appearances.
I didn't think it was Robin Olsen.
He went to a few loans in a row from whatever club he was at.
I had no idea about that. Fair enough.
So there we go, John. A little quiz, little bit of trivia for you. Yes, what was that total then? 7 players, I think, involved in both squads that will be like. This isn't like a connection of Villa and Everton 30 years. This is the squads that will be available tomorrow. Did you say Luca Dean, by the way?
Yeah.
Okay, I can't remember if you said it or not. Okay, trivia done. Well done, John. Round of applause.
I've got another. Can I ask you a question?
Go on then. Is this the most played fixture in English football? Because if it is, the answer is yes.
It is to do with that. Can you do you know how many games Villa have won and how many games Everton have won in this fixture?
I think I've got. I'm not going to know the number, but I'm pretty sure we did this stat a few years ago because we talk about this every single time we play them. Yeah, it's another notch on the. We've played them again for the 200th time or whatever. I'm pretty sure either at one point that it was even, and we've played like 210 or something. And like we've won 80 and they've won 80 and there's been however many draws that would be left, 50 or something. I'm going to say that we've won 90.
Can you see my books falling in the background? That's what I was playing that over my shoulder. You can just want to see it. No, it's Villa have won 80 games. Yeah. And then what about Everton?
I think it's close. Is it 80 each?
No. 76.
Oh, come on. I mean, that's close enough, isn't it?
Would have been like, 76 each maybe at one point. And then we've
I was going to say, maybe that was the stat that we did because we've won quite often, haven't we, over recent years. I reckon on the podcast like 3 or 4 seasons ago, I bet you we did the stat. It's the most played fixture. And did you know Villa have won 76 and Everton have won 76? What an evenly matched tie this is. I bet you we've done that before because it rings a bell.
Exhilarating stuff.
Absolutely. Right, okay. Let's go away from this is chaos, isn't it, tonight? I love it. Let's go away from match day, the chance where we get to speak about something not related.
Let's go away from the podcast.
Yeah, let's just end it now. Why not?
I'm joking.
This is the part of the show where we get to talk about something that is not related to Aston Villa versus Everton. Ticket prices. Now, we've done a hell of a lot of this, and I'm sure people are fed up of it. The reason I mention it now is because Emery was asked about it on the Villa social that we did last Friday, I think it was. I kind of said like a penny for Unai Emery's thoughts about all this, like what will he be thinking? And he will inevitably be asked about it in the press conference before Everton, whether that's by a local journalist like you or a national one. It will be asked 100%. Managers are always asked things that probably isn't really their responsibility to talk about. But from the quotes that I've seen and from speaking to you, Emery handled that question well.
Yeah, I think he answered it well. Firstly, there's obviously a limitation of questions that can be asked about in a press conference, and especially on one subject. So, didn't really get into the different angles of it, but just as an overview of what do you think about it, essentially, he just said that he understands the frustration, and that if he's aware that people may protest, but if they do, he's certain that everyone will be backing the players, backing the team throughout the season. And yeah, basically said that Villa have increased their level, so this is kind of the price to pay. But at the same time, I think he knows that's Villa's nearly double, or in some cases are double what fans of Liverpool, City, Arsenal are paying. So I think everyone's aware of the situation and that it's not on. But obviously, Unai isn't going to come out and blast the club, is he? So yeah, kind of balanced. But at the same time, I'm glad that he, said I understand the frustration with the fans. He could have said something else. Which would have been, I don't know, something along the lines of like, I don't want this to come into the stadium. I don't want any negativity. I don't want to talk about it, that sort of thing. But instead, he's kind of sympathised and said, I understand it. It's, he gets it. And I think we all knew that anyway. He gets the fan base and he always talks very highly of it. And I think he's very aware of the situation. But equally, he knows that everyone will have the backing of the team anyway. So he's not kind of anticipating a bad atmosphere or anything like that. In fact, I almost feel if there was to be a protest, which I'm not sure if that's going to happen or whatever, I feel like that would almost be like a rallying cry afterwards for the players. Do you know what I mean? I've seen some stuff saying, oh, don't protest because throughout the whole game, it's going to be like, could be toxic and stuff. I don't think it would be like that. I don't know what's exactly going to happen, if anything, but if in 97 seconds, the fans do something for a minute or whatever, and then that's it. That's it. I can't personally see it being like a bad thing of like, oh, we might not win the game because of this or whatever. I don't buy into that at all. I think fans will get right behind the team anyway, but something needs to change. Essentially, people need to voice their opinions, and this is It's for a lot of fans the best kind of platform for them to do that.
I mean, you'd feel that if there is a game that is not going to be affected by the atmosphere that you would hope, Villa have a good record against Everton. Like, even if the first, is it the 97 seconds or something I've seen about like show exploitation, the red card or whatever it is it's going to be. It's the first 97 seconds. Like there was another 80 odd minutes for Villa 88 minutes to go on and win the game. Like even if the atmosphere is terrible for 90 seconds, like Villa shouldn't be losing this game because of that at all. I don't think it'll make any impact anyway.
No, and I don't think it's kind of being universally agreed anyway by the fans that people should protest and people should hold up cards or whatever. So I'm not expecting it to be a, kind of a big situation. And again, even if it was, that's happened, then there's a big roar from the whole end and everyone gets behind the team. Again, that's how I'd imagine it would happen if it did. But I'm not sure it is anyway, because as I say, I think a lot of fans are kind of split on, do we do this because the players don't deserve it, or do we do it because we need to let the club know somehow? And in a game is probably the best platform to do that. So we'll see what happens, if anything happens. But if it does, I don't think it will harm Villa's result, essentially.
No. And I don't have a problem whether fans want to get involved with it or they don't want to. Everyone has a right to voice their opinion, whether it's online, social media. For the fans that are in the stadium, they're match-going fans buying tickets have the right to voice their displeasure. It's just, I don't know how you do that. We spoke about this a bit on the social. Kendrick has spoken about it on his voice notes today. How best you get that point across, I don't know anyway. Even if the full 40,000 took part in that protest for the first 97 seconds, is that even the right way to do it? Honestly, I don't know, and this isn't me just sitting on the fence. So I don't want to kind of say my piece. There's comments kind of saying, there's comments coming through saying, why don't you speak about this? Why don't you speak about that? it's a very difficult subject, really, and I feel like we've done this ticket thing enough. Like I've said my piece on it. I feel like there's stuff that I don't like off the pitch, there's stuff that I don't like being said. The statement that came out from Chris Eck after the buying tickets sold out, that was basically just like, well, it's sold out in record time. It's like, well, that statement could have been, I don't want to get into it now, but that statement could have been posted before the prices even came out about the reasons why they're doing it. To do it once they've sold out is a bit like, well, we can price whatever we want here because you bought them anyway. Like, there's things I absolutely don't like about this situation, and I don't want it to just go away because I'm bored of it. I want it to go away because Villa do something about it. Fans feel like, okay, the thing is done now. At the moment, it feels like this whole thing just isn't going to go away.
Yeah, and that is the issue. And just on that stuff about the PSR and whatever, I don't buy into that myself at all. If that is because of Villa's budget, well, budget for the fans first, because it's a few £1 million that's the difference essentially. And I know people say, well, that could be someone's wages or this could be that, but I don't care. Aston Villa fans will be watching their team if it's in the League Two, League One, Championship. I know we had less attendance in the Championship, but I'm talking about the fans who, all the fans, you can go to the game still. And for me anyway, obviously I don't have a season ticket anymore, but I've said before, obviously I have family that do and whatnot. You need to feel like you're going to Aston Villa and you feel proud to go, and you're not being exploited by it. Essentially, that's how I feel about it. And whether you're playing in the Champions League, that's just a bonus essentially. If Championship or not, what you're served up isn't your fault essentially. So if it's going well, I'm equal with it as well. It's like I'm going, and I don't want to be exploited for it, and I feel like fans are, because if they're being asked to essentially kind of put money into the club to help the club situation with PSR and whatnot, that's nothing to do with them. Like, that's just not their. I don't know. At the start of the season, factor in you're going to charge fans £50, not 90, whatever, and then see what happens after that. Budget accordingly. Don't spend, do all of this, and then think, right, here's where we are. What do we have to put on the fans? I think that's absolutely disgraceful, to be honest. But that is the situation, and that's what Chris Eck has come out and said, that we all need to kind of play a part in that. That's his opinion. He runs that side of the club, so that is what's happening. We can obviously all shout about it, and a lot of fans feel that protesting is the best way to get their point across. Others don't want to do it because they think it may, negatively impact the game, possibly. I don't know. But you're right, Dan. I feel like the reason why there isn't kind of an organised protest that I'm aware of, I think there's some stuff that's going on. I think some people may have organised red cards or something. I don't know exactly. But why it's not universal, I think, is just because a lot of people are essentially thinking, well, I don't want to do that, or some people thinking that I do want to do that. It's not kind of linked up. I don't think
it's a divisive issue as well. There are some people that just think the price of the prices. I can afford it. I'm happy to go. It's fine. It's Champions League. This isn't like protesting against a bad owner or that kind of thing where everyone's on the same page. Like, it's a divisive issue. Final thing I'll say on it is that we talk about like every penny counting, every pound counting. I know this is kind of small fry in comparison, but if everything counts, we'll go to play our part. Villa were fined 60,000 for reporting their accounts late. Like, maybe report your account sometime and save that 60,000. Maybe that could have been factored in somewhere. Do you know what I mean? Like, if Villa are going to kind of sweat the small stuff over fan ticket prices, you have this thing to bounce back and say, well, what about this? What about that? Did we really have to spend this? Could we do this? And like I say, this feeling is not going to go away until fans feel that the protest was successful, till they feel that the club do something that makes them feel vindicated, till prices come down, to that first Champions League game comes and goes. I don't know, but it just feels like it isn't really going away, I suppose. And I would like it to, because I want to talk about football, to be honest. I feel like we've done our part in talking about all this stuff over the last couple of weeks, and it coming in an international break is kind of adds to that, I suppose. If this came in the middle of this five game run we've got coming up, people are like, okay, it was Champions League tomorrow, like, forget about it for now. Whereas because it's been like elongated, it feels like really quite heavy and intense.
It's also our duty to give both sides as well. I don't know if people think that we're being biased in either way. That it's our responsibility as well to kind of give both sides. I think we've done that to an extent. We can't get 40,000 people on a call and everyone give their opinion and put a podcast on it. But I think if you basically just go on Twitter, you'll see how divisive these things are. Most things are divisive on Twitter, to be fair, especially something like this. But I think we can all agree that or most of us can agree, it's it's obviously not a pleasant situation for anyone really to be paying the prices that have been put up. And to go back to where we started, that's why Emery has basically said, like, yeah, I'm fine with you protesting because I understand the situation.
Yeah.
And he also said, he also said stuff about like the fans are the heart of the club. They, this is like a family generation thing. Like fans will support Aston Villa for years to come. Like this isn't just this is a football club, and the fans really do connect. It's like a religion. So he's absolutely aware of what it means and why fans are so furious about it.
Just back on football, not quite Everton just yet, but the Champions League pull-out special that we talked about on the was that the Q&A at the start of the week? Do you want to just give a round up to that, and I'll flash up the images on screen, or how people can buy it, all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, so if you just leave a link in the comments, Dan, £3.50 for our big. Oh, there it is, beautiful. Our unofficial Champions League guide, Aston Villa, we're back. Yeah, it's basically a pull-out of different bits ahead of Villa's first match against Young Boys. Obviously, you can buy it after that as well, but it's got opposition previews, scene setters, Villa's key men for the Champions League, different bits that, worth buying for £3.50. I would recommend it for sure. I think it's online now. It will be in the stores. I don't know exactly when, which isn't great on my part, but you can buy it online. So, get it in the comments.
Yeah, there'll be a link in the description if you want to pick that up either on YouTube or the podcast feed. Keep an eye out in stores as well. We play the Champions League on Tuesday, John, so it's going to be within the next couple of days.
It's something you can buy before buying as well. Like it's not particularly timeless. Oh, it is essentially timeless for the next couple of months, basically.
Yeah, the Young Boys preview will be out of date if you buy it after Tuesday, but the rest of it, all still makes sense. Right, let's go to predicted 11 next then. Back to football, back to Everton. I've got a little graphic again. We'll flash up in a second. I asked you to put 11 together. Is this your 11 or what you think Emery will do, or a bit of both?
This is what I think. Oh, a bit of both, I suppose. Yeah, can you flash it up now? Because I forgot.
Yeah, there it is.
There we go. Lovely. Yes, I think that's what Emery will go with. Basically,
do you want to just read out the names for the people listening?
Oh, of course. So Emi Martinez in goal, Torres, Konsa, Luka Dean left back, Nedeljkovic I put right back instead of Bogard. Tielemans, Onana double pivot, and Rodgers behind Watkins, Ramsey left, and McGinn right. Basically, the team that ended. Did it end? Yeah. It's Leicester. Or after we had a couple of injuries, Nedeljkovic ended the game, didn't he? So
why Nedeljkovic over Bogard?
I think you probably want a bit more attacking impetus against an Everton side who I presume will not play on the front foot, play pretty direct. I mean, I was happy with what Bogard did against Leicester, but I just feel like this is probably a game for Nedeljkovic. Nothing really splitting them apart from the fact that Nedeljkovic going forward, I think, has probably got a bit more about him than Bogard.
The only other thing I would mention about this team, I'm still waiting for that moment that Maatsen comes in and starts games because that's what he's been brought in to do. And I thought it might have been Leicester. I do think Maatsen might start tomorrow because I look at that team and as much as I like it, and I think this is what the team will be as well, to be honest, that going forward, I worry about the lack of width. Like McGinn is not going to play hugging the touchline, and neither is Ramsey. It's going to be kind of very central, very floaty. We've seen Onana dropping back to help out in a back three in build up. Obviously, Tielemans can push forward, but again, not a winger. Nedeljkovic obviously will push forward, and Maatsen would as well. Dean is going to be less likely to do that. So, is that where the width might come from? You think the fullbacks?
Yeah, to be fair, Dean or Maatsen can both do the width, but obviously Maatsen would push on further forward, get to the byline like Moreno did. That different kind of profile. Another reason why I think Nedeljkovic will probably play with Bogard because you have the situations where McGinn would come inside, and Nedeljkovic can make those runs to the byline, as I just said. So, I'm excited by that team, though, by the way. I think there's more than enough there to beat Everton. Also on the bench, you've got Barkley, who maybe could start ahead of Tielemans, by the way, because he played Young Boys in the week. Barkley obviously didn't play international duty. Tielemans did for both matches against Belgium, I think. Sorry, for Belgium, alongside Onana. So, there's different options Emery has there. So, we'll see.
Is there any shout for Duran to start? Because if Watkins hasn't trained much, or
I think there's definitely a shout. Yeah, for sure. If Watkins doesn't feel 100% with the games that we've got coming up, I'm more than happy to see Duran start. But I think, again, Duran coming off the bench is obviously a big asset. I'm just thinking, though, is Watkins going to start this game, then start Tuesday as well, and then start on the weekend? I feel like Duran may get a start in there somewhere. And will it be either Premier League game, Champions League game? I don't know. But yeah, I think there's maybe a start from there somewhere. Could be tomorrow.
Okay. Final part of the show then is our score prediction. If I just quickly get my spreadsheet up, I can't remember what we did for Leicester. I imagine, we both said a Villa win. I said 4-0. You said 3-1. It was 2-1. So we both get our first point of the season. We got nothing for Arsenal and West Ham. Everton at the weekend, as I said, we've got a good record against them, especially at Villa Park, especially early in the season. For some reason, whenever we play them early on, it feels like we just always win.
Yeah, it's always it's September now, but it's always early in the season.
It's always early-ish, isn't it?
Yeah.
For our predictions, for those listening, we now write these down and show them on screen, so there's no changing or cheating for the predictions.
I'm doing this on 2%, Dan. So if this blows up my battery and therefore ends my internet connection, that's your fault.
Oh no! Okay, yeah, all right. Well, let's be quick with this then. Are you ready to flash up your score?
No, not at all. This might go
I've
really
got mine
wrong.
I've got mine on a piece of paper because I'm old school.
We're lagging in all sorts. Hold on.
Oh God!
You may never get to know my prediction.
What will people do? Okay, right. Okay, 3, 2, 1, go.
Oh no, 5-1.
5-1. Yeah, well, go big. Why not? 5-1 for me. I actually did a little bit of art on mine, John. Did a bit of colouring in because I know that you put a bit of effort into yours. It's 5-1 for me.
Really well. That how long did that take you? Like 5 minutes, maybe.
Well, like 10 seconds while I was waiting for you to join the call earlier. 5-1 for me. Big scoreline. Why not? I want some goals. I want Watkins to score. I want free flowing, lovely attacking football. I've given Everton a consolation the goal there just because doesn't feel like we can keep a clean sheet at the moment. 3-0 for you. You do think the clean sheet will be there?
Conceded multiple goals in 9 of our last 11 home matches.
Say that again. Sorry.
We've conceded multiple goals in 9 of our last 11 home matches, which is pretty bad. So.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, clean sheet. That's what I said at the start. Need a clean sheet.
So what's different to you that makes you think we'll get a clean sheet? Is that because Everton are bad?
I think we drew one as well. So yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm like maybe 20 seconds away from dropping out of internet. So I'm sure.
Okay.
Really, I must apologise on my behalf here for everyone watching the podcast because my internet connection has been bad. I haven't been on good form. So you're just going to have to enjoy the post-match tomorrow after a 5-1 win.
Yeah, me and Kendrick will be on the post-match tomorrow evening, hopefully with better internet. Jeff Parker said, aren't you forgetting Tim Irabunum as a former villain playing for Everton? Answer shortly, John. No, no, we haven't forgotten. He's on the thumbnail. I
did say Tim in the little quiz you gave her.
Yeah, that's what I mean. There's a couple of interesting bits. Obviously, Onana plays for us now. Dean is, we're used to it, but Tim plays for them. They like Tim.
Yeah,
we like Onana.
That will be interesting though, because he's doing well, Tim at Everton. To be fair,
yeah.
Like obviously, I'd much rather have Onana that isn't a conversation, but I still think he's a good player, Tim. And it'd be interesting to see how he goes tomorrow at Villa Park. So good luck to him. Yeah. Not tomorrow, but after that.
Yeah, absolutely. Right, John, I'll let you go. Thank you very much for joining me, as always. Thank you, and apologies to everyone who watched this version of the podcast. It's a little bit sloppy, but, it's live. It's chaos. This is what it is. We're not the only podcast who has a bit of chaos on a live stream.
It's a very John Duran podcast. Chaos, by the way, not because it's bad.
John Duran's not bad.
Come on, yeah, man. Exactly. That's why, again, points proven there, because bad comment. Go on, end it, Dan. Finish it. No, don't do that.
Thanks everyone for watching or listening to this episode of the Climate Podcast. We'll be here for the post-match reaction tomorrow evening, 9 o'clock, something like that. Myself and Kendrick, hopefully talking about a 5-1 win or a 3-0. I'll take that as well. Right, we'll go. See you then. Bye, everyone.